Check it out, everybody. Bear Harvest Permit Phase 1 is a go. The application deadline is September 22nd. And so this is Coast to Coast with your 30-second intro. And I'm going to be putting a two-part series out. The first part, which will be this video, is going to go over how to apply for the bear permit, what to expect for this year, as well as follow-on years. And after that, I'll do a separate video that's going to be more dedicated to doing a personal take on the bear hunt. And so without further ado, let's get rolling. All right, so just like my other tutorial videos going over online regulations and what it says on the FWC app or Go Outdoor Florida, I'm going to start broad and make my way a little bit more narrow. So just getting down to brass tacks, Florida's going to have the first regulated bear hunt in a decade. That's going to start in December 6th through 28th in 2025. Of all the permits, they're going to issue 187 that are across a few different designated zones, which we'll cover. And basically, how it's going to work is on Go Outdoor Florida, which is where you apply for your WMAs, your limited entry quota hunts, etc. That's where you're going to go to apply. So you need to have an account. I'll have a link to my last video on how you can set this up and a little bit of a walkthrough on how you can apply. Now, what's interesting about the bear application process is that it has a $5 application fee. So what this means is that you can put in for multiple applications to help your odds in this lottery raffle system, and the sky's the limit. So if you wanted to put in for 100 applications, you're going to be charged, $5 per application. That's going to be $500 just to apply for it. Now, if you are awarded with the permit, you're going to have to pay an extra $100 if you're a resident, or if you're a non-resident, you're going to be paying $300 for that. So if you want higher odds for the bear permit, unfortunately, it's going to be more of a pay-to-win system to where you're going to need to put in multiple applications to acquire that. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in my part 2 video, sharing my personal thoughts. But as of right now, that is how it's set up. So let's take a look a little bit further into what areas are going to be open up and how you can go about hunting them. All right, so once you open up the FWC page that is covering Florida black bears, you can see that they put a ton of information on here. And so since they're opening up this hunt after a decade has passed since the last hunt, there is a lot of questions coming from both hunting and non-hunting entities. And so I think they do a really good job of providing a lot of information about bear populations, habitat, etc., to be able to answer a lot of those questions and concerns, and highly recommend taking a look at it. As of this permit, there's going to be 4 bear harvest zones, as you can see listed here, that they're going to be opening up. And so this is 4 out of the 7 zones. Right now, there's about 4,000 black bears today. And we'll go over some of the numbers here in a second as far as like why they opened up the hunt. But the 4 that they're opening up are areas that have over 1,000 bears recorded from FWC. So you have the East Panhandle over here, and you can see that on the map here. Let me open this up to maybe show a little bit better. On the map here, you can see that there are a few different things. So they have the county lines, the boundaries, the interstates, and then they have the bear harvest unit and then the bear management unit. So the bear management unit isn't an area that you're going to be hunting. So this yellow area isn't an area that is going to be open. It's going to be the bear harvest zone that's available for you. So depending on where your location is, that's going to affect where maybe you're going to be wanting to go hunt at. So, if you're over in the panhandle, maybe this area might make more sense to you. Or if you're down south, and maybe looking at the south region is going to make more sense. So after looking at the East Panhandle, you can see that there are 3 other areas. You have the North Zone, the Central Zone, and lastly, the South Zone. And every single zone is going to have different things mentioned as far as like boundary lines, what WMAs or areas might be opened up. Now, one thing to note, if you scroll down, there are a few areas that I opened up that I think are important to take a look at and understand. So number one, there's a lot of question as far as like, being able to hunt with feeders. So typically on public land, being able to put down like corn and other feeding mechanisms are not allowed. And so you can see that they have mentioned here that, the rule doesn't change feeding bears. So like if you wanted to go hunt on public land, which is predominantly what's going to be seen this year, as we'll cover here in 2 seconds. But hunting near feeders and feeding stations are going to be up for grabs, as you can see here. Now, as far as with dogs, they actually are looking at a 3-year plan right now that I can see. So for 2025, they're going to be looking at mainly hunting public land. And the reason why I say that is because you can see here, what does a private landowner have to do to be a part of the private landowner bear harvest permit? And you can see that this is not going to go into effect until 2026. So, and to be a part of that, it's going to require things that are going to be kind of ridiculous, in my humble opinion, because you're going to need 5,000 continuous acres, and at least have 50% of that area be suitable for bear habitat. And on top of that, you have to have at least 5 individual bears recorded. And so basically, the idea of hunting on private land for this hunt is not going to be feasible for many people. Even if you have 50 acres or so on your own property, going out and shooting a black bear on there isn't what the point of this harvest permit and program is going to be designated for. As far as utilizing dogs, it looks like that is going to be the future of bear hunting. So in 2027, they're going to allow dogs to be utilized for the bear hunt. And in 2026, training is going to be issued for dogs to be able to learn how to track bear. So that way that can become a part of the active hunt. And so I think given this information, if you're expecting to be able to hunt like your 50 acres or so, or maybe you have bears on camera, it's going to be a dialogue that you might want to start having with FWC, starting going to the meetings. But it looks like predominantly most of the hunting is going to take place on public land. And so what's going to be interesting about that is that there isn't any bear harvesting mentions in the WMA brochures. So I'll be curious to see, as we get closer to the date, if more information is released. You can see here that like some of the WMAs are listed in some of these counties. And so I think it's going to be mainly hunting during the daytime at these WMAs. But again, there needs to be some more information that I've yet to see as far as specifics. So overall, just keep that in mind when it comes to planning if you want to apply or if it's going to be something feasible for you this year. One of the other pages you can open up, you can see as far as the bear permit application. So they've been open since September 12th. They're going to go through September 22nd. As far as what you'll need to be able to hunt bears is a hunting license. And so, in order to acquire a hunting license, you'll need your hunter safety course. And applicants have to be at least 18 years old by October 1st to apply. And so, again, you can apply as many times you want. $5 per application, plus they add a handling fee on there. But they're going to be distributed at a random drawing. So, again, the more you're able to put down, the higher likelihood you're going to be able to hunt bears. And so, as far as, with your budgets and as you're planning for if this is going to be a hunt meant for you, just know that again, it's probably going to take a lot more money to be able to put yourself into the game. Now, it's not to say that if you put a $5 or $10 and you won't get it, but your likelihood is going to be really low. Now, the only good thing that I'm seeing like on this page as far as increasing odds is that only 10% of permits will be issued to non-residents. So I don't think there's going to be a heavy skew towards non-residents to increase the budget, for these bear programs. But overall, again, 90% of these permits will be issued to residents only. And it's going to come down to, how much money that you feel comfortable putting in for just the application. Because if you're not drawn, you're not getting that $5 back. So as far as deciding what zone to go to and figuring out which one's going to have the highest likelihood of being able to harvest a black bear this year, it really, I would say personally that it's fair odds all around. You can see here as far as the open management areas, you have 1,060 in the East Panhandle, 496 in the North, 1,198 in Central, and then 1,044 in the South. You can see that they also have like a few numbers listed in some areas that like are very low on population, and FWC isn't opening up those areas again. The bear management units include the following zones, which are 7, and you can see where they're more frequent, common, occasional, and rare. So these areas might be able to help you out in identifying what WMAs to start looking at, what areas you can start scouting, what might be the best spots to go looking for your game as we get up to September. There's a lot of really great documents, and I highly recommend downloading this Florida black bear management plan because there's a lot of great scientific articles. Even if you plan on hunting bears or not, I think it's a really great resource to look at and understand where we are at with the bear populations in Florida, how they've grown, and why we are opening up this hunt. So to close things up, as I mentioned, you'll go to gooutdoorsflorida.com to be able to apply for your applications. Again, expect for every application you want to put in is going to be $5 plus the handling fee. If you are awarded that permit, again, you're going to be charged $100 for that if you're a resident, more if you're an out-of-stater. And overall, I hope that this video was helpful in at least providing a initial guide for number one, is the bear hunt going to make sense to apply for you? And then number two, show you how to go and apply for your permits. Now, you may be asking yourself a few questions as far as, is this process the best process that FWC can use to issue these permits? Is having a bear hunt a good idea? What is the efficacy? These are some questions I'm going to be covering in my next video. But again, I just want to thank you guys for tagging along. Please make sure to support the channel, put a comment below, leave a like, subscribe. Would love to see you on the next video as we talk a little bit further about the bear hunt and I share my personal thoughts. Thank you.